media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or high-kicked into the dark pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, he only exclusively dates goth centaurs. It is
Yahel. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. As we were talking about before we hit the recording button, I went and watched. He's the only other employee of Reptilian Media. He's in a movie called Cannibal Comedian, and it premiered at the Chinese Theater back on Tuesday. And it was a good time. I'm living that Hollywood lifestyle, sort of. Even though I had nothing to do with the movie, but it was cool to go there and hang out with people. And as I told you, Cannibal Comedian coming your way. How are you doing?
Cannibal Comedian.
Cannibal Comedian, that's right.
You called it Animal Comedian.
I don't think so.
It's all right, Steve. I'm here to promote your friend's movie.
I think the C got caught off through the microphone or something. But no, it's Cannibal Comedian. Yes, like Hannibal the Cannibal.
Look at this narcissist. Won't admit that he made a simple mistake. This is what I'm dealing with here, folks.
The mistake.
Anyways, you were going to ask me something, Steve.
I was asking you how you're doing.
I'm doing good, Steve. I'm definitely not hungover. This is 100% a drink for my enjoyment and not hair of the dog.
This is what we call classic Yahel, I think.
Steve, I'm unemployed, so I'm just depressed.
Hey, I mean, I've been going out more this month than I have, like, in the last 2 to 3 years. So, hey, I mean, we are unemployed, brother. We.
Yeah. And I also did get the new COVID vaccine yesterday morning. So it's probably a combination of just it, like, hitting me and drinking.
So it's weird. You're like,
okay, it's the drinking because I went to the gym after I got the vaccine.
I just want to say you're a responsible and an irresponsible adult all at the same time. I love it.
Steve, I may break your heart, but I will not get you sick.
What? Is that a line from Mortal Kombat Annihilation that I missed?
That is a line I used to flirt with you.
Oh my God. Wow. So,
but yeah, Steve. So I'm actually curious. I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when, but pretty recently. I know this year, and I don't remember why I watched it. It was on my own, though, just because I like to watch
you wanted something that would make you feel like absolute shit, like the world doesn't matter.
It's kind of like a B movie, right? It's kind of like a dumb B movie.
I think it's below that. I mean, I saw during my research, I think it was maybe on IMDb, someone said that the Mortal Kombat 1 is like a fun B movie written by a 12-year-old, but Mortal Kombat Annihilation is written by a 6-year-old.
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you watched the video I sent you on Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but yeah, in a way, I guess that means that Lawrence Kasanoff is the 6-year-old in this case.
Oh man, a perfect example of a guy going mad with like success and power. Because thank you for sending that video, by the way. Basically, the quick story is, since Mortal Kombat 1 was such a sort of a surprise hit, he basically went mad with power on the second one and, just decided to make a movie without bothering to have a decent script. Was that accurate, you'd say?
Yeah, pretty much. It's weird, though. Like, he was, like, I don't know if you looked at his IMDb, but he's got, like, some, like a very surprising IMDb. I mean, a lot of it is it's stuff that isn't rated very well, but stuff that's well known. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was an executive producer. He was a producer on the original Mortal Kombat. He's kind of the one that actually got the ball rolling on
Yeah.
getting the Mortal Kombat movie made, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the cartoon and stuff. But he was like the producer on Beowulf.
I
He
see
was
that
like a
movie.
producer.
Did you see that one with Christopher
Yeah,
Lambert?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
have? Oh man, we have to do that
It's
one
not good.
time. I remember it being fun. Maybe not like maybe somewhere between MK1 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
It's oh wait a minute. I thought this was like Beowulf, the CG movie. No, I have not seen this.
Oh,
But Christopher Lambert's in it, so I'll watch it.
that a boy, that a boy. That's the Obscurity Now way.
There we go. But yeah, he was then he also produced like Bobbleheads, the movie.
Wow, I never knew that was.
Why did somebody think that that would be like a good thing? But then he's also like a producer on Lego Star Wars, like this like TV movie
Mhm.
based on Lego Star Wars. So I don't know. He's got a real weird IMDb.
Right. Well, speaking of the IMDb, should we dig a little bit deeper into Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
You sounded
He's medicine.
sounded very refreshed there. Okay.
Hmm.
So,
A very refreshing old fashioned.
man, I kind of wish I had one, to be honest. Like all my attempts to try to get drunk while going out at these things have failed, but that's another story. Maybe I'll save it for the end of the episode. But anyway, okay. So, Mortal Kombat Annihilation premiered in North America November 21st, 1997. Nothing like heaping help on a Mortal Kombat next to your like turkey and mashed potatoes. Am I right?
Hmm.
So it's rated PG-13 and is an hour and 35 minutes. And here's a synopsis in case for some reason you have no idea what Mortal Kombat is about. A group of martial arts warriors has only 6 days to save the Earth from an extra dimensional invasion. And I'm glad they said extra dimensional because that's the thing about aliens, Yahel, is that many people think that they're just gonna, come down in their like, their flying saucers. But no, they could be coming from any other kind of dimension. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course, Steve.
Wait, are we talking
I'm not
about?
an idiot.
Aren't we reviewing a another Dan Aykroyd documentary right now? Oh, wait, I blacked out. Okay,
Oh man, he must be so aroused these days with all the UFO stuff.
just a constant boner and a UFO
Yeah.
boner. But yeah, we definitely need to do another one of those. But moving on. So the director of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and all right, we're gonna go through all the people that you need to blame for this movie. And starting off is John R. Leonetti, and he was actually the cinematographer on Mortal Kombat 1. And since they couldn't get Paul W.S. Anderson back from the previous film, I think you guys would probably know him from a couple of the Resident Evil movies, if not all of them. I think he does.
Most of them,
yeah,
I believe,
most
yeah.
of them. And then, of course, like he went to do Event Horizon, a far superior film, if you ask me. And so he wasn't around to do MK2. So all they did, they just went ahead and promoted the cinematographer to director. And aside from this, the only other stuff he's directed is like sort of like trash Blumhouse horror, like Annabelle, Wish Upon. He worked on Sleepy Hollow, the series, and something else called Lullaby. But yeah, after watching this, I think he should probably stick to cinematography. But anyway,
So you like Event Horizon? Do you?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
What, you don't like Event Horizon?
Not really.
Um,
I think it's overrated.
I think it's garnered quite the. It's what, I'll be honest. It's been a while since
Most people like it. Most people like it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you don't. It's got space, your favorite thing, your boner-inducing thing.
Jason Isaacs of Star Trek Discovery fame, the worst Star Trek show. Uh,
Sure, that's what I was going to mention next. Thank you for.
I'm sure that is. No, I mean it's all right, but I don't know. I didn't think it was like I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I mean, it's certainly competent. It's not bad or anything, but I think people are just like, maybe it's because I watched so much sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find any of it particularly innovative or interesting. It was like kind of derivative to me. So it's not bad. I just think it's overrated.
Right. I think the sort of story or what could have been behind it is what has elevated it over the years. Like the fact that the the original negatives were destroyed in some salt mine. So you know that scene where they have the flashbacks to hell and stuff, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Like apparently those were supposed to be a lot longer and way more graphic and gorier. But there's no way to do a director's cut because the original negatives were destroyed. But anyway,
Yeah, it's already like an hour and a half, so like it's long enough.
right. So Hell doesn't like Event Horizon. Take that for what you will, audience. Okay, moving on. So yeah, old Larry Kazanoff, which I mean, we should probably do a shout out to that video that we watched. Do you remember what it's called?
Yeah, it was a Matt McMuscles video.
Mm-hmm.
We are internet acquaintances. He has a great channel and he does a series called What Happened, where he like covers, kind of infamous movies and video games and kind of like their development. And yeah, it's really well researched stuff, delivered in a pretty fun style.
And we will be referencing it a lot throughout this episode, so make sure you go check it out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks for doing the work for us, Matt.
yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Well,
He's a good guy.
oh, I was,
He's a good guy.
I mean, I was very impressed over the amount of research that he did, and at first I was like, wow, I feel like an obsolete mule. But then I was like, you know what this video is missing? It's missing, references to a vasectomy, basically, and
Yeah, that
references
is the one thing.
and references to the Malibu and Ultraverse universe from the '90s. I mean, there was none
Yeah,
of that in
that,
this
that,
video.
like, he's almost got it. Sure, he's got like almost 600,000
Sure.
subscribers.
Yeah, but is he?
Yeah,
But
he's
where
this close to
are the
getting
vasectomy
the formula.
references? Like,
Yeah, that's what he needs to like push him to the next level.
take it from us and our huge subscriber base. Okay, so Lawrence Kazanoff, in addition to being the producer of both Mortal Kombats, he went ahead and decided to promote himself to a writer on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And Yahel already mentioned a bit of his IMDb, but the only other stuff that he's credited to writing on is something called Food Fight. And yeah, he's usually a producer. He was credited as a producer on True Lies, which I mean is pretty impressive. I'd say that's probably the most impressive thing on his resume, I guess, aside from Mortal Kombat. And I guess one of his sort of right-hand mans, which is proper English, is Joshua Wexler, who also worked on Food Fight, the blockbuster kids film Food Fight. But he's alone has produced tons of Lego movies. And the only other thing he's credited to writing on is The Adventures of Clutch Powers and Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. And of course...
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Food Fight is also kind of infamous for how bad it is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched. I mean, I've never seen the whole movie, but I've watched like a few videos on it. I know Cynical Reviews has a good one. I Hate Everything has a pretty good one on it. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, watching the clips in our the Matt McMuscles video of Food Fight, it looks like we might want to give it a watch and a review, possibly.
Yeah.
So the last person credited, at least in the story production, because there's still two more writers to talk about, is John Tobias himself, MK creator. He's credited on all the MK movies, including the newly unreleased sequel. Now, the screenplay is actually done by some pretty credible looking guys. I mean, maybe at the...
Oh, like you think they're hot?
No, I mean the stuff that they worked on. Like they actually have...
Okay, you said incredible looking guys.
Credible. Man, you're just
I'm
hearing
sorry.
things. You're hearing things. All right, so...
Maybe you're just saying things that you've been wanting to get off your chest.
Well, more on that later. All right, so Brent V. Friedman. And the thing that I thought was most interesting that he had on his IMDb is an unreleased Earthworm Jim like animated series called Earthworm Jim Beyond the Groovy. I forgot, are you a Earthworm Jim guy? You like Earthworm Jim?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not bad.
But
I like it better than Event Horizon.
I don't know how to feel about that statement. So he also worked on the Crow series, Stairway to Heaven. That might be worth a look someday. Dark Skies, and I don't mean to jump into your territory here, but Star Trek Enterprise. And, of course, we round out his hard work with Hollywood Hot Tubs 2, Educating Crystal. Like, I
thought you were going to say edging.
Edging Crystal? Oh, wow.
Like edging the tub, edge of the tub.
So, should I run the bumper, or are there some other
there are quite a few Star Trek alumni, surprisingly.
All right, well, let me finish. All right, the last guy who worked on the actual screenplay is a guy named Bryce Zabel. Have you ever met anyone named Bryce who, like, was cool? I don't think I have.
No, but I've met a few people with the last name Zabel.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious. Come on.
Are you able, Mr. Zabel, to not be a douchebag? Okay, so...
No, I don't think I've ever met a Bryce in real life.
Well, this Bryce Zabel guy is a former CNN correspondent turned screenplay writer. He worked on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, our favorite show, Mantis, again, Dark Skies, and again, the Crow series. And those are all the people who are responsible for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, at least in the script department. So who are some of the thespians who brought this masterpiece to life before the camera?
There's a pretty big cast. Mm-hmm. So I am not really going to go through everything everyone is known for.
Nor should you.
But first off, we do have Liu Kang, played by Robin Shu. Mm-hmm. He's actually still, his last name was in 2014, so I guess he's not doing anything. Although he does have, it does say he's got like a TV movie thing coming up, so I guess he's still out there. He's probably doing stunts or something.
Nice.
But he's kind of most known for Mortal Kombat. But he basically has just been in a bunch of action movies and some video games. Then we have Talisa Soto, who plays Katana. Then we have James Remar,
he
who
prefers
plays
to
the
be
new
called
Raiden.
James Captain Charisma Remar.
You know what's so crazy? Yeah, this guy's devoid of charisma. You're 100% right in this movie. However, he's been in a shit ton of stuff. Most recently, freaking Oppenheimer. He was Henry.
Oh, wow.
In Oppenheimer.
Wow.
But yeah, he's got 179 credits. He's got 4 upcoming. And he's been in a lot of... And you know what's weird is when I started watching this, I recognized his voice. And it's because I haven't played in a long time, but he's in the Destiny games.
Oh.
He plays Executor Hideo in the Destiny games. Wow. But anyways, he's been in a lot of things. Then we have Sandra Hess. Speaking of devoid of charisma, she plays Sonya Blade. And
is that her delivery?
Yeah. Anyways, she's real good. Anyways, also not really known for a lot of stuff, but somehow got work in 33 projects. Then we've got Lynn Red Williams, who plays Jax, and I recognize him right away from American Gladiators. He was Saber.
Gladiators, yep.
And honestly, I mean, some of the dialogue they give him is pretty bad, but he's not that bad of an actor.
No,
really.
He just, and again, this is how I feel. He was probably told to act. He just acted like every sort of typical like black stereotype in the 90s, right?
Right. This is exactly. Yeah. When I was watching this, I was like, oh, I see some white guys. This is like their idea of like what a black guy talks like.
Sure.
Because if you've ever like, I mean, maybe it's because I recently watched a couple American Gladiator documentaries that came out this year, but you listen to the guy talk. I mean, he does not sound like this at all.
No, definitely not.
Not at all.
I could just see old Larry. He's like, you're not black enough. Can you black it up for me, please? Black it up for me.
And he's probably like, I'm literally a black man. This is how I speak. But anyways, yeah, I'm surprised he only has 13 credits to his name. Last one was Saints Row in 2013, a game that my buddy Alex worked on. But yeah, it's just kind of odd. I'm surprised he didn't get more work because, good-looking guy, built, decent actor. Surprised it didn't work out for him.
Quick little bit of trivia that Michael Jai White was actually supposed to be Jax, but he got the lead part in Spawn instead. And ironically, he went on to portray Jax. And did you ever watch those, like Mortal Kombat
the webisodes, the web series?
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat Legacy,
something like He was that was pretty good. Definitely better than.
I didn't watch it, but I've been meaning to because Jerry Ryan, who plays Seven of Nine on Star Trek Voyager, she's in it.
Yeah. Yes.
How many more things am I going to bring back to Star Trek?
Until the day you die, I'm sure you'll find a way somehow.
All right, then we've got Irina Panteva, maybe. Jade is who she plays. Moving right along, we've got another alumni from American Gladiators playing Motaro, Darren McBee.
Malibu.
Yeah, he was Malibu in American Gladiators. He is still acting, actually. He was on something called Superficially Deep last year. And he's got quite a few credits to his name, 55. So good for him.
And if he can...
I was
going to say, if he can bounce back from this, like, he can... he's going to have a long career.
Well, he's another guy. Like, I mean, all his lines are pretty stupid for the most part.
Most people's lines are.
Yeah, but so are most people's lines, and he delivers them well. Like he's got presence.
Yeah, Yeah, he and Jax. I mean, they tried at least, and there's a few people who are trying, and then a few that just have no idea what they're doing.
Speaking of people with weird names, his ex-wife, her name is I don't even know, Drizan. It's Drzan.
Why do you know Malibu's
Drizan?
ex-wife's name?
Because she's my current wife. And I've yet to learn her name. No, it's like on his IMDb thing, like the blurb.
You met her at the castle, didn't you?
She was in this thing called Body Slam, the making of a professional wrestler, which stars Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel.
Nice.
And John Heidenreich. Do you remember John Heidenreich?
No, who was he?
He's the guy that... In a backstage skit, he basically pins Michael Cole up to a wall on SmackDown and implies he's going to sexually assault him.
Oh, all right. Yeah, all right. I've heard of that.
Yeah, you would remember that.
You brought it up, you weirdo.
Anyways, moving along, we've got Lightfoot. That's the actor's name, not the character he plays.
So
Lightfoot,
awesome.
who plays Nightwolf. And, credit where credit's due, they actually hired a Native American actor to play Nightwolf.
He looked great. And, I mean, it's too bad there wasn't more Nightwolf. I mean, as far as, his, like, actual acting ability, but he definitely looked like a Nightwolf.
Man, like, with some of these actors, it's hard to tell, like, if it's their performance that's bad or if it's just, like, the material is so bad they couldn't, like... elevate it. Some do, some don't.
It is a shit trifecta of problems because, not only do you have, like, a lot of people here who, like, acting is not their number one thing. It's clear they're, like, from the world of, like, fitness models and martial arts and stuff. But you've got a director who's never directed actors before. He's only done cinematography. So there's no one there going, hey, the way you delivered that line sucked. Can you do it a different way? And then there's a shitty...
He's telling Lightfoot, can you make it sound more black?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Native American.
Yeah, you don't sound Tonto enough. Can you...
You don't sound... Well, this guy, Lightfoot, I'm sure most people would recognize him, if they recognize him, from the Indian in the Cupboard. He's a little bear.
Okay.
And the Indian in the Cupboard.
I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, it's I mean, it's fine, but I think it's overrated too. But the special effects are fantastic in that movie for the time. But he's got like a really interesting career. He mostly does like motivational speaking. He does a lot of philanthropy work for Native American tribes.
Do you think he knows about destrucity?
Maybe. But anyways, moving right along, we've got we're trying to get through this. Chris Conrad plays Johnny Cage. who this guy's been in like 40 things. So this guy looks so nondescript. He is like if you typed into an AI generated image generator, good looking, fit white guy, he would be the guy that would come up, you know.
Yep.
But he was in Wing Commander 4: The Price of Freedom, the video game, great game. You know who else is in that?
It's Luke Skywalker, right? Or
Mark Hamill is his real name. But so is Malcolm McDowell, who played Soren in Star Trek: The Next Generation's first film, Generations. But anyways, Conrad here, he was in 3 episodes of Hercules: The Legendary Journey.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I don't know. I love that show, but sure. I love that kid.
I love that man meat.
But anyways, he was not in the original Johnny Cage from the original Mortal Kombat. They basically, this is something we gleaned from Matt McMuscle's video. The original Johnny Cage, he looked at the script, thought it was terrible, but naturally he would have to have been paid more. This being, he had an option in his contract that he would be paid more on a sequel, and they didn't want to pay him. And from the quote that Matt McMuscles found, it sounds like he was not too upset that they did not want to use him.
Yeah.
So they got this guy who honestly looks a lot like the original Johnny Cage.
He does.
To the point where I didn't realize it was a different person until I watched Matt's video.
You know what? I'll admit that too. Yeah.
Yeah. They all look alike to us, Steve.
Yeah.
And he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah. And then
he gets killed off by Shao Kahn pretty quickly. Speaking of Shao Kahn, you like that segue? Shao Kahn is played by Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson, he's got one of those faces that you recognize. He's been in a ton of stuff. he's not good in this, but I actually like him a lot as an actor. I've seen him in a lot of stuff that he's really good in, including Star Trek: The Next Generation. He plays Clag, a Klingon, and he's actually really, really good. It's one of the few season 2 episodes of TNG that's really good. Him and Riker have some really fun scenes where there's a great scene where Riker implies that he's going to have a threesome with some of the Klingon women that are try to flirt with him on the ship, because basically Riker is doing this exchange program where he goes on a Klingon ship for a week.
Exchanging bodily actually really fluids.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. But he's also in Star Trek Generations. He was also in Star Trek Enterprise. I thought he was on DS9, but I guess not. Oh yeah, he was. He was in 2 episodes of Star Trek DS9. So this guy is and he was in Star Trek Generation. I already mentioned that. So anyways, this guy's been in a bunch of Star Trek stuff. Then we've got Reiner.
Before we move on, I think with that guy's face, I feel like he would have been a better Baraka than the Halloween mask they got to play Baraka in this.
Yeah, it's literally just like a crappy mask.
Yeah.
They didn't even do makeup.
Yeah, and I'll also say, as far as his performance, I mean, all right, it's clear from his IMDb, that the guy has skills, but it's like kind of like a clear case of again, he didn't have any direction, so he just went over the top as much as he could. But
I suspect that they told him to be that way, because the next guy I was going to bring up, Reiner Schoen, who plays his dad, Shao Kahn's dad, and Raiden's father, he's very over the top too.
Yeah.
And this guy has been in a ton of stuff. He's still acting. He has 150 credits. I mean, he's been in a ton of decent stuff. So yeah, I don't know, but you know what? Maybe they weren't given direction. They just said, "F it, let's just be over the top." But also Reiner here, he played Isak in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So good on him. Up next, we've got Musetta. We're almost done. Musetta Vander, who plays Sindel. She was also in an episode of Star Trek Voyager.
She got more work after this? That's insane. All right, continue.
Oh, dude, 84 credits. She had something this year.
Well, hopefully she got better. All right.
Yeah, hopefully. I didn't mention it, but quite a few people in this cast are also popped up in episodes of Babylon 5. Musetta's one of them. But, she was also in Viper, the great show Viper. So, she's good.
You're right. Yep.
She's
Proved
good.
me wrong. You did.
All right. And last but least, Mar Margian Holden, who played Shiva. She is still acting as recently as last year, and she was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And that is the end of our cast list and the end of our Star Trek
All right, here we go.
Ah! Oh no! We've just entered another Star Trek connection! Ah!
Just real quick, just some a little more trivia. There were two sort of, I don't know, martial arts legends. I mean, and this was actually, I think, his first. It says it's his first film role. You know, Ray Park, the guy who played Darth Maul in Star Trek Episode One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the Raiden's.
Did you just say it in Star Trek
I?
Episode
Oh,
1?
Shoot. Star Wars Episode 1. Wow, like if that would really make some people angry. Well, if this was like 10 years ago, it would make people angry, but I don't think anyone cares at this point. So, yeah, Ray Park, this was his first film role as Raiden's fight double. And then we also have Tony Jaa. You ever see any Tony Jaa movies, like The Protector? He was kind of a big deal at the end of the 90s. He's from Thailand.
No, I can't say that I remember.
He's really good. But anyway, he doubled for Robin Shou in a couple of the stunt sequences. So yeah, just throwing that in there real quick. So yeah, wow, we got through that huge cast.
Oh, okay. I looked him up. Tony Jaa. Yeah, yeah. I recognize him now.
And wow. Oh, wow. My whole walkthrough is not here. So I'm.
Even your walkthrough doesn't want a part of this.
Exactly. So let's see if I can do this from my memory. Like, so basically, it starts off with at least at the very beginning they got the original theme back, which they only use at the beginning and at the very end of the theme or the movie, and then the rest of the score this time, even though it's the same guy. Like, what do you think about it?
No, they used the Mortal Kombat theme during a fight scene also.
Which one?
There's one fight scene that they use it. It's one of the ones towards the end. I can't remember, but they do use it one time during the movie. But the score is fine. I mean, I don't know. It's not terrible or anything, but it's not as memorable as the
yeah, I mean, there
one.
are some that are sections of it that are downright terrible, including, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, when the movie basically turns into a Godzilla film at the end, when Liu Kang gets his dragon animality against Shao Kahn's, I guess it's supposed to be a Hydra or something. There's just the...
Yeah, it's like a dragon Hydra. It's because it's got like 3 heads, but it's also dragon-ish.
Yeah, like
It's hard to tell. It's such like a CGI mess. Like, this movie came out in what, 97?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it looks like 1992, 1993 kind of CG. It's very bad.
I mean, the whole film in general is a step down from the first film. And according to Matt McMuscles, they had a bigger budget for this movie than they did for Mortal Kombat 1. And they also said that, I guess, in the original test screenings for Mortal Kombat 1, people said that there weren't enough fights, so they had to go back and film some more fight scenes. So Larry took that and ran with it for MK2 here and just decided to film as many fights as possible and I guess ignore any kind of possible, character arcs or development and anything like that. Like, what do you think of the fights in this movie compared to the original Mortal Kombat?
There's a lot more of them, and they're not as good. Is how I would describe them.
Yeah, they're so short because there's just so many characters. I guess they just have to like burn through them. It's like, okay, a little high kick there, a little bada bing, bada boom. All right, you're dead. Well,
yeah, there's way too many. Hey, Smoke Monsters is here. He said he never saw this movie. Well, consider yourself.
Oh yeah, and that reminds me, we didn't really go through the history of Mortal Kombat Annihilation with ourselves. Like, did you actually see this in the theater when it came out?
No, I did not see this in theaters. Did you?
I think I walked into it after watching another movie. because I remember vividly just walking in and seeing like Jade get eaten by the random reptile, the bad CGI. Like, what video game system would you equate these graphics to?
I would say I would equate them to the pre-rendered graphics that we would see from like SGI, which is like Silicon Graphics. Whenever you'd see like pre-rendered Killer Instinct ads or ads for even Donkey Kong Country, where it was like rendered at a higher resolution, but it still wasn't great. But they leaned into the fact that like, oh, we're making this cartoonish or whatever. But imagine that level of quality, but trying to make it realistic and failing in every possible way. But one of the things you mentioned was that the budget was increased. The first Mortal Kombat had a budget of 18 million, I think it was, and this one was like 40 million,
Sounds
right?
about
Something
right.
like that. And apparently they used the money to do a lot of location filming. And some of the locations are pretty cool, but it really wasn't necessary. And I guess like the special effects suffered as a result. And one of the things that you mentioned was the screenings, and in this test screenings apparently for this movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, test audiences really liked it, and most of the VFX were not supposed to be the final VFX, but because whatever morons they found to put into this test screening liked it so much that the studio was like, "Oh, F it, don't do any more work on the VFX. This is good enough." That's But I don't know if I buy that. But that's the story according to some of the people that worked on it. And again, that's from Matt McMuscle's video on this movie.
Yep. They must have screened it like the middle of like bumfuck nowhere. Like it just must have been like a bunch of. Because this movie, like, it fails as a movie and as a video game movie. So even if you're like the biggest Mortal Kombat mark in the world, like, I don't see how you could like this, because the fights aren't good. It's mostly just people like getting kicked and like flying from one edge of the screen to the other. It blows my mind. Like, who would watch this and be like, oh, that was great. I loved it. Like,
there's a lot of problems with this, right? But I think one of the problems is that they tried to like include almost every Mortal Kombat character. For reference, Mortal Kombat 3 came out in 1995. So when this was being made, Mortal Kombat 3 was already out. And that game has, a lot of characters in it. They didn't even include them all in this movie. Like, there's no Kano, there's no Kung Lao. Cabal isn't in it. The Striker isn't in it. Like, not every character is in it, but there's still too many.
Oh, you got that.
And
right.
Maybe if there were less fight scenes, they could have developed the characters more. But I think ultimately there's so many characters that you couldn't have like really done any good. Not that Mortal Kombat 1 is like the quintessence of character development, but we have Creative KV here in the chat. He said. He's got another No Fear shirt here. Getting your spine ripped out takes a real man. No fear.
Nice. I'm gonna steal these and make actual shirts out of them. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yes. Thank you for providing a stream of income for us, Creative KV.
Indeed.
We'll ship you your shirt for free. The shipping is free. You still have to pay for it.
Right. $30 a shirt.
Anyways, I don't think we need to go through the movie like beat by beat or anything.
No, I'm just trying to stall so I can get my proper notes up here, and now they are. I hope.
I do like how the movie picks up basically right from where the last one ended, where we see like Shao Kahn like show up at the end of the last movie. Like, that's literally where it picks up.
Right.
Here. Unfortunately, it immediately goes off the rails and makes no sense.
Right, and I love just how they try to explain sort of the plot holes away with just like one line. And Liu Kang was like, "I thought our victory closed the portals," and then lack of charisma, right? And it's just, well, sometimes the portals reopen. Like, that's why we have a sequel there, because sometimes. And then they sort of explain later that Shao Kahn is playing by his. Wait, did I say the right Khan? That's the right Khan, right?
No. It's not Shao Kahn. It's Shao Kahn's dad,
Right.
who's an elder god. I can't remember his name. I remember the actor's name, oddly enough. He was one of the people on Star Trek. Maybe that's why. But
right. Well, Connie Khan, Tony Khan, that's who it is. He basically they're saying that he's playing by his own rules. It is Shao Kahn. I did say the right one. Yeah, he's playing by his own.
No, it's not Shao Kahn because Shao Kahn's not a god.
All right. I didn't mean to refer to him as a god, but they're saying that Shao Kahn is playing by his own rules, and that's why they're.
But it's Chinook. Shinnok.
Right.
That's the guy who's actually opened the portal, because later he's like explained to Shao Kahn, like, oh, if the other gods find out, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Right, exactly.
By the way, what crappy gods that they're unaware that this is going on. So I guess they're not omniscient.
Wait, are you trying to say that gods might not be real, Yahel? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh man, if they are, they're probably about as competent as these
is
three
one
gods
Larry Kazanoff.
Yeah, because we end up like seeing later towards the end of the movie, like the other two, I guess only two other elder gods, they show up and they tell like Shinnok like, oh, this is bad, but do they immediately close the portals and fix things? No, they say the fate of the universe is going to be decided via Mortal Kombat, and leave Shao Kahn and Liu Kang to like fight it out. Like,
yeah,
what?
It's my least favorite kind of like Deus Ex Machina, where some rando gods show up and sort of like like you said, they don't exactly fix things. They just go, oh well, just like it says in our Bible. It's time for the Mortal Kombat tournament to decide everything. They don't say it in that voice or anything, but that's basically what happens. But the thing I think is funny at the beginning here is that the MK bad guys, they basically all show up from Outworld via Fireball. And each one has their own Fireball. I mean, couldn't they have carpooled? I mean, think of the environment here.
They really should have. Creative KB in the chat said, I don't think Street Fighter 94 movie counts as obscure, so I don't think you guys have covered it like you have with the Mario movie. We haven't covered it, but we definitely could. I mean,
Mortal Kombat is definitely not obscure, but yes, someday we'll get to it. It's just, it's just one of those things that has already been covered en masse.
Like this hasn't?
So yeah, and I was gonna say, why not? It's all about those views, baby. All about those downloads. So right when I hear Shao Kahn's voice, for some reason at the beginning here, it's just not like how I would picture his voice. It just sounds not good. And then we meet the new Raiden, and as we said, he has zero charisma. And I don't think, all right, obviously this guy's a decent actor since he keeps getting work. He's just the wrong guy to play this role because, you stack him up to Christopher Lambert's Raiden. I mean, Christopher Lambert is not really a great actor either, but he has a certain way.
How dare you?
No, stay with me here. He has a certain way about him. He has charisma. He's like full charisma. I mean, he's decent enough. He's never going to win an Academy Award or anything. But I'm just saying he was the right guy to cast at the time to be in your schlocky sort of B movie of Mortal Kombat 1. Whereas, James Raymer is more like subdued. I mean, he actually probably could be in some sort of Oscar baity, movie, basically, at some point.
He's an Oppenheimer,
there you go.
right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
He plays Henry Oppenheimer.
Would you agree to that statement?
Yeah. This guy just doesn't have, and I don't know if it's because, by the way, it's Raiden, not Raiden.
I'll say it how I want. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Ninja Gaiden, whatever.
Like he's, I'm sure he's a fine actor otherwise, because like you mentioned, he gets a lot of work. Although I think a lot of it is because of his voice. He has like a pretty cool voice.
He does.
But yeah, no charisma in this movie.
Do you think that's why they cast him? Because Christopher Lambert does have a cool voice, and they're just like, God, who can we get to carry?
I'm 100% sure that they cast him based on the voice. Smoke Monster here, he was talking about when you were talking about thinking about the environment and like how maybe they bought carbon credits to offset the cost. Then he also wrote Mortal Greenwashing. But
nice.
But yeah, he I don't know, man. Like, it's weird. Like, he doesn't either, and I get that this guy didn't want to like do an imitation of Christopher Lambert's Raiden, but at the same time, he acts nothing like the other Raiden. The other Raiden was kind of like a little goofy,
he's like a little bit
like
of a trickster,
hammy.
kind of. This Raiden, if I must say it that way, he several times he reminds me of a youth pastor. You know what I'm talking about? Because he's like, oh, I'm going to pray for you. He actually says that at one point, like towards the end.
Yeah, who is he praying to?
Yeah, and he's always like, he's always got his like arm around someone, like telling them to believe in themselves and stuff like that. And I'm just like, God.
Yeah, he's like a walking motivational poster. He's like when Jax shows up, when Jax meets Raiden for the first time, you know, Jax has those big cyborg metal arms. Raiden's like, you don't need those arms. You just have to believe in yourself. And Jax is like, no, I need these arms. We're fighting like crazy extra dimensional beings. He's like, no, man. All you got to do is believe in you. Take those off. Take off your pants. Do you remember
the scene when like Raiden, excuse me, was he got into the passenger seat to drive a car, and then Jax got in, and then he immediately changed the station to rap music. I mean, I thought that was a little sus.
Steve, just out of curiosity, how do you pronounce from Street Fighter 2, not Ken, but the other karate Ryu? Character?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
just check
suck it.
Just check it. I'm just checking, Steve. Just checking. What about from Street Fighter 2, the character with the stretchy arms? How do you say his name?
Dalsim. Well, how do you say it?
Okay. I mean, I actually, I'm not sure that you're wrong, but I thought it was Dalsum.
I've heard it both ways. Like, yeah, I don't know. No one cares about that guy anyway. So cheap.
Creative Kiwi Smoke Monster in the chat. Feel free to write how you think Steve is doing.
Writing. Make sure you do it phonetically so we know what's going on.
Smoke Monster wrote, now pronounce reused lightning kick.
I don't.
Pretty close. Creative KB wrote racist moment canceled.
Oh.
Speaking of racist moments, so just kind of touching on Jax a little bit, and I'm sorry guys, we're not really going through the story beat by beat, but so Jax gets rescued from like a hospital or a medical facility in Hawaii.
Was supposed to be this massive prison break or something. Which, I mean, why would Jax even be? Oh no, it's supposed to be an outworld prison. That's right.
Right. It was initially going to be an outworld prison, but I guess it was too expensive or elaborate. By the way, Creative KV said he already wrote a letter to Biden. I was to get canceled.
Good. Please do.
But like he gets rescued. He's just, there's nobody in this facility except for him. And at this point in the movie, so I guess we should say the premise is Shao Kahn shows up in the beginning and he's like, okay, I'm taking over the Earth, and the way we're going to do it is the Netherworld and your realm are going to merge, and it's going to, he says, the Earth was created in 6 days, and so shall it be destroyed.
So bad.
So in 6 days, Earth is going to be destroyed / merged with the Netherworld, and to facilitate this, a bunch of his Ninja Clan foot soldiers, I guess, are going to go around Earth.
Those are so hilarious and like out of place. It reminds me of, I don't know, for some reason, Monty Python. Like, they might as well have, like, fake horses and coconut. It's just a roaming, like, band of ninjas. And then at one point, when they're in, like, that weird sort of Badlands section with Sonya and Jax, there's, like, knights on horseback. Like, what year is this? Like, I mean, and since they're from Outworld, I mean, shouldn't they have, like, I don't know, magical like lasers or something? It's just so weird and hokey, but then most of this movie is.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's weird. Like, this movie, like, unlike the first Mortal Kombat movie, which we both liked, it's fun, it doesn't lean into the ridiculousness of the Mortal Kombat universe, whereas the Mortal Kombat 1, like it's kind of like goofy. They have a few like what's his face? What's the character? Goro in the first movie is kind of goofy and funny. He's got he's got a lot more personality than Sonya Blade and Raiden in this film. So yeah, like you know, and there's a lot of like kind of like wink wink not you know at the audience in the first one, and this one like takes itself way too seriously.
You're right. And yeah, I mean, as I said at the top, I mean, this is just a step down or back, if you will, in so many ways. I mean, all of most of the fight scenes in the first one are pretty memorable and like pretty good. Here, they're over edited. They're too short. It's mostly people just flying back into walls. There's very little like actual martial arts done, and if it is, it's shot and edited in such a way that it just really doesn't have a lot of impact.
And they barely use like their special power moves. Like in the beginning, we do get like Sub-Zero like using his ice stuff a little bit, but then that's it for the most part. Like what I was gonna say about Jax though is that so he gets rescued, right? And he's the only one at this facility. No one else is working. And he's just like lying on a table with his new arms. And I guess he was just like taking a nap because Sonya does nothing to wake him up other than just show up. Right. And why is he like, because he asked, he says that like, oh, I wanted to get these arms implanted or whatever. Why is he like strapped down to the table? Because this is like a voluntary procedure. It's not like he's captive, but she says she's there to rescue him.
Well, I mean, it's just one of the many continuity errors of the film, I guess. Because I mean, as we said, originally it was supposed to be a prison, an outworld prison or something. So, and they just didn't bother to fix it in the script. I mean, just a small dialogue change would have worked wonders here. But
so in the chat, Smoke Monster had written that Goro had 2 nominations for that role. I believe it. Goro is awesome in the first movie. But Creative KV wrote, hold up, I'm on Google Images right now, and Motaro had got some funky elbow stuff going on. He needs to go see a skin doc. I wonder if Malibu, who plays Motaro, Malibu of American Gladiators fame, maybe he had something going on with his elbows. Were you at the school the day that, I think it was Nitro? It was either Nitro or Turbo came into the school, wrestling school?
No, I was never there when anybody cool showed up.
Oh, man, he was pretty cool. Not cool enough for me to remember which one he was, but for those that don't know, Steve and I, we went to the Dudley Boys Wrestling School together, ages ago. More than 10 years ago now. Anyways, the strength trainer, Dan Carr, is basically one of the co-creators of American Gladiators. I mean, if you ask some people, he's the real creator. And anyways, every once in a while, like somebody from American Gladiators would show up. Good times.
Yeah.
I wish Malibu would have shown up and I would have asked him about this movie.
So speaking of Sonya, like, what do you think of the new Sonya actress versus the old one?
I mean, the old one's not very good either.
Right. It's just
but this one somehow is worse.
It's just a different kind of energy. The original one,
low energy,
I would say is a somewhat better actress, and I don't know, she's got a look about her where she probably could beat your ass if she really wanted to. But
she's definitely like in shape. Like you see in some scenes, like when she's like picking stuff up, you can see like the definition in like her chest muscles and stuff. Like,
I mean, I'm just saying the new one is in shape too, but she just doesn't seem as like I don't know, threatening as the original Sonya for some reason. I don't know. It's just the energy.
Do you think it's the actress or the way it was written?
I mean,
maybe both.
Yeah, probably both. And she has a funny line when I guess Raiden is trying to convince her to join the fight or whatever, and she says, "If I die, that's fine, but I'm not losing anybody else." I'm like, whoa, so you just don't care if you die? Wow, okay. It's like, is this the person that you want defending Earth from Outworld? She's got a suicide wish here, death wish.
Creative KV asks, is this good bad or bad bad? And I would say like that's what we're going to decide. And I don't know about you, but I haven't quite decided.
Oh, yet. I've decided.
I'm letting this conversation.
I've
You're
decided.
decided. I see.
Uh,
It's definitely bad. I will say that. And on the plus side, it's only like 90 minutes,
right,
right? I
hour
think.
and 32 minutes, basically.
Yeah. There's like 10 minutes of that is like credits.
Yeah.
Uh,
So let's see.
did you watch? I don't know why I watched the credits, but I did. And at the end of the credits, it says, because I guess some of this was filmed in Thailand, and it says in the credits, like it has like this paragraph that says, out of the respect for the people of Thailand, no traditional Thai locations were destroyed or implied to be destroyed through visual effects or anything like that, which I thought that was interesting. And I wonder if like that's a requirement of shooting in Thailand. Like you can't show like any, like recognizable Thailand monuments like being destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine it would be. They really seem to care about that kind of stuff. I've actually been to Thailand a few times. I don't know. I mean, I went and saw.
Were you there to visit the Mortal Kombat Annihilation
You
locations?
actually can. Like one of the big tours is.
Did you?
I don't think we drove past it. I went to the one where the beach was filmed with that movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, and then they have another one that's called James Bond Island, which is where the man with the golden gun was.
When you went to Thailand, Steve, did you like smell the sand and say, this is where James Raymond played Raiden on this hollowed ground, while your wife watched nervously?
I mean, I was looking for the Christopher Lambert smell, but I just couldn't find it because the man doesn't have one because he's just so cool. He doesn't even smell.
Oh.
Well, this got weird. All right. So...
I don't know. So the creative Kathy asked, "Oh, you got free pieces of cheese by visiting the locations?"
I don't get that reference, but
maybe because these movies are cheesy.
All right.
At least this one is.
Um,
So, in the games, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe Smoke or Creative, you guys know, but I thought Jax's arms were like actually robotic. Like they had been replaced, whereas in this movie they're like these metal things that he slips on his arms, and because he ends up taking them off later and using his regular arm, just like Raiden told him. He just had to believe himself.
If I remember correctly, so in Mortal Kombat 2, he just had regular human arms, and then someone, one of the Outworlders, ripped them off, like Goro or somebody, one of the bosses. So in Mortal Kombat 3, that's when he had to have actual robotic arms and not just slip-ons, like phony.
No, he always had robotic
Are you sure?
arms. Even in, didn't he? Let me look. Oh no, you're right. You're right.
Mortal Kombat 2, regular arms.
Wait. All right, fine. Let's let.
I'd be depressed if I knew the answer to this. Stop talking about my personal life, Smoke
I'm
Monster.
still not sure you're right, but
Plastic Man?
okay, yeah. It looks like you're right. But
one of these days you'll learn to trust me.
But yeah, it's just really weird. I do think that the arms prop, I don't even know what you call it, that they made for him looks pretty good.
I liked it. I know it's weird when and I get why he's wearing before he gets towards the third act or whatever, he's wearing like a weird vest over it, which kind of makes it look a little weird, but I guess it would also be weird if he was shirtless the entire time. So, yeah, I mean, I get it.
I mean, he still ends up shirtless most of the movie, but...
for sure. So, let's see here. Raiden sends Liu Kang and Kitana to go meet Nightwolf. Meanwhile,
Liu Kang, Raiden tells Liu Kang that he's got to pass 3 tests. Because basically Liu Kang is like, Raiden is like, listen, you guys are not ready to take on Shao Kahn. Like, you won the Mortal Kombat tournament, but this is different. He's sexier, and you're just not ready for that D. So he tells.
Oh, go ahead.
So he tells Liu Kang that he's got to pass 3 tests, and like he needs to talk to Nightwolf. He says Nightwolf will find you.
But before, all right. So how do our heroes get to these different locations that they're supposed to go to?
So apparently Earth has these underground tunnels, Steven, And you travel in them by loading yourself into a giant metal ball.
That's not what it is. It's Atmosphere from American Gladiators.
Yeah, it is like the atmosphere, actually. Yeah. So, it's like a spherical cage kind of a thing.
And pray that the other person in there with you is of, well, I guess whatever your sexual preference may be, because you're basically awkwardly standing like face to face with one another, like your bodies like this, like
yeah.
So Sonya's opposite Jax, and Kitana is opposite of Liu Kang, and basically what powers those balls is your bodies rubbing up against one another. Well, I might have made that part up, but you can be the judge.
Well, the funny thing is, like, they're like, oh, this is a way to travel really fast. It'll get you there, but they say. I think it's like Kitana that says it, but she says something like, "Yeah, in these spheres they travel incredibly fast. You can get anywhere to Earth in hours. You can do that on a plane."
I mean, like, there's where your budget went right there over this stupid, like, Atmosphere, I don't know, Hollow Earth, like, special effect that didn't need to be there. Why didn't they just?
Yeah, it's only used once. They build these fucking tunnels, and when the first one takes off, I can't remember if it's Melina or somebody says, "Oh, faster than I remember." It left like at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was. It's so stupid. I mean, if this would be in like a DuckTales or Indiana Jones like movie, like that would be one thing. But it's like, I thought you were trying to save money here, Larry, and you took all the money out of like script development and having an actual director, and you put it into fucking spear balls in the middle of the earth. Like, where, I mean, how much blow was he doing back then? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, as you said, they end up at or Liu Kang ends up at Nightwolf's, where he goes on a weird spiritual journey to learn his animality. The way when Nightwolf jumps at him as a wolf and then transforms, he goes, "That was my animality." Like, the way he delivers that line just cracks me up. Yeah, I don't know. Then it's weird. He like falls asleep, where he ends up meeting Jade, and like Jade wants to like bone or make out or something, but then it's just a test, and they fight. No, they fight. Then she says it's a test. Like, what is going on here?
I don't know. And like Liu Kang only gets like really one test anyway from Nightwolf, even though Nightwolf said there would be 3.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Real weird. Yeah, apparently everybody wants to like bone Liu Kang, but Liu Kang only has eyes for. Is it Katana?
Yes, it's Katana. You said Melina earlier, but yeah, it's Katana.
Yeah. So like Jade kisses him, and Liu Kang's like, no. I only have love in my heart for Katana.
Right. It would be funnier if he's like,
I'm more of a Sindel man.
Yeah.
She seems a little bit more gothy.
Wait, Sindel, the four-armed woman?
No, that's
no, you're right. Yeah, I keep getting them mixed up.
Sindel is Katana's mom.
Sindel, I don't know. I kind of like Jade in a way, but yeah, I mean,
I'm not surprised.
I can definitely see you. Yeah, I mean, same to you, brother. Same to you. So basically, we get introduced to the new maskless Sub-Zero. What did you think about the whole maskless Sub-Zero thing? I mean, yeah.
It was all right. I mean, I do like that they at least acknowledge that, like Liu Kang's like, "Oh, I thought I killed you," and he's like, "Nope, that was my brother.
Yeah.
But I'm here to help Katana, not you."
But just,
it was all right.
But just like with, him showing up just has like just the way it's filmed, and then him, it's like completely lacks the gravitas of the original, just the way the original Sub-Zero and Scorpion, when they show up in like the first movie, it's just like, I don't know, so well filmed. It's like, oh, those guys are such badass. And here he's just like, hey, I'm maskless Sub-Zero. That was my brother before. And it's just just forgettable, just like most of the encounters in this film are. And then we get Scorpion again. He yells, "Suckers!" and then kidnaps Katana.
Yeah, what is that? Like Scorpion yelled "suckers." I laughed out loud. I was just like,
to me, that almost feels like so the voice of Sub-Zero is is it Ed Boon or Tobias? I think it's Ed.
I believe it's Ed Boon.
I feel like he went into the voiceover booth and just like, he did the regular lines and then he was messing around. And then in the edit, they thought, oh, this will be funny. We're going to make Scorpion say suckers before he kidnaps Katana. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it is laugh out loud, but in like the most ridiculous way possible. Maybe if they would have done more stuff like that, this would be more enjoyable of a film, but just weird.
But by the way, of the sphere that they travel in, Smoke Monster in the chat had written, that does look like a big budget ball. Yeah, I guess it does. Oh, another funny thing when they travel in those balls is they, at one point, Liu Kang and Katana are in there. They like shoot out of one of the tunnels and into like a chasm. And she didn't mention this beforehand, but like below them, I guess, like if you fall, like, I don't know, I guess you go to the center of the earth, who knows? But so like shoots out a chasm and he's like, what is this? And she goes, this is the interchange. So I guess this is like, you have to decide which tube you want to fly into. She goes, quick, to your left, hard to your left. Really? Like, you didn't mention that earlier? And what kind of fucking system is this that a giant metal ball is going to shoot you out over a chasm that's like hundreds of feet long, and you have to perfectly shift your weight to fall into the right tube, which I guess you better have memorized which tunnel you need to go in. Like, just take a plane.
And why would Sonya even know about it?
Well, here's the thing. Also, well, it's not Sonya, it's Katana. So yeah, but that does bring up a good question. Earlier, when Sonya and Jax used it, how did she? Or no, it's Sonya and Raiden that go the first time. So I guess
Jax
Raiden
isn't there
but
yet.
Also,
my mistake. Yeah.
Hey man, Raiden can teleport. It's literally one of his powers.
They didn't really use a lot of like the lightning effect on him this time.
Probably for the best.
I mean, he just walks around looking like a high school football coach, and especially when he gets his hair cut. But that's later on. But yeah, back to the the spherical balls to the center of the earth. I mean, and how unrealistic it is, because I mean, we all know the world is flat. I mean, the earth is flat. Am I right?
Sure.
And where was the Technodrome during all this? All right. Anyway. Enough about the goddamn spherical balls. Like Cyrax shows up at some point, and let's see, Cyrax turns a thug into a skeleton for some reason, and they discover that there's like a weird emblem on him that turns into an animated dragon and flies away, and then later it's revealed that this is like some sort of, it's a tattoo, which why does a robot need a tattoo that allows safe passage between Outworld and regular world?
Yeah, Raiden says that he's got a tattoo that lets him travel between realms, but like that the tattoos that all the bad guys have that we see, like we only see the tattoo a few times, but like whenever the bad guy's killed or defeated, the tattoo like flies off, like comes off of them and turns into a bad CGI dragon thing. But yeah, he calls them temporary passes.
It's so lame. Why? And none of this stuff was in the first movie. Like, why?
And Steve, in the beginning of the movie, everyone's from Netherrealm. All the bad guys are already on Earth.
They show up via fireball. Like they have they have the most
what is going on?
They have the most ridiculous transportation options in this movie. It's like, well, here are your options, buddy. You can either take a nice little fireball, or you could take a spherical ball through the center of the earth.
I did like when at the end of the movie they all got in the hot air balloon ride to the Shao Kahn's kingdom. I thought so. In the chat, Creative KV had written that he found that the Motaro, the actor that plays Motaro, aka Malibu, aka Darren McBee, he played a hockey thug in one of the 90s Batman movies.
Nice. Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
And Daniel Pacino, who played Johnny Cage in the game, apparently told Smoke Monster that he was a foot soldier in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Nice. I tell that to all the ladies. Well, before I got married, of course. I was like...
So I've got a Daniel Pacino story.
Okay, let's hear it.
So... I've been at 2 conventions where he was like a guest at, and Both times he did the same thing. Basically, he's an older guy
Sure.
now, right? He's like 60 something, 64 years old. It's funny. Smoke Monster said he was trying to get into his pants because that's what Daniel Pacino was doing at the hotel bar each time. And I was talking to some friends and fans and stuff, and he just starts like trying to hit on these girls that like are just in this group that we're in, and he just tries to like bang one of them, and like it's like, dude, you're 60 something. I get it. You're in Mortal Kombat. That's great. That's cool. But what are you
think
doing,
like
man? And his son was there at the last one, and his son was real creepy too. His son is like in his 20s, but his son's tried to do the same thing the next night. But his son was like, "Yeah, my dad's Daniel Pacino," and it's like,
wow,
like man, who cares?
Wow. Well,
Anyways,
hopefully he'll listen to this and he'll start believing in himself and change his way. I'll pray for him. I'm gonna pray for him.
I don't want to say in his defense, but he was seemed to be a little intoxicated. So maybe he was just drunk. But and he was like, I mean, he didn't like once it was clear it wasn't going to happen. He did back off, and so he didn't like
the fact that you felt that you needed to add that, I mean, speaks volumes. I mean, it really does.
Well, I didn't want it to come off like he was being rapey or something.
Sure.
It wasn't like that, but it was definitely
it was
like,
the implication.
Hey, I'm in my 60s and I'm gonna try and hook up with one of you hot 20 somethings.
All right. Okay. All right. So where are we in the movie here? Oh yeah, we were talking about the badly animated, I don't know, dragon thing, and then somebody, let's see, Cyrax turns a thug into a skeleton. Just, man, the VFX are just so terrible in this. Like, the fact that they're worse than the original film makes no sense. You'd think they'd have gotten better. But no, we had to spend millions of dollars on spherical balls going through the center of the earth. Let's see. We already talked about Jax. There's a Shiva and Kitaro kind of get into a little skirmish, really for no reason. They basically spend most of the movie standing around. Shao Kahn kills Ermac and makes Sindel his new general. Now, I have to say, Sindel is great at standing around. She does a fantastic job. And I mean,
I like how in the beginning of the movie, because Sindel's supposed to be dead, but obviously shows up and Katana's like, "Mother, how are you alive? How is this possible? I thought you were dead." And Sindel goes, "No, I'm alive, but soon you will be dead."
Yeah, there's such a long pause between it. Like, it's actually pretty hilarious. Yeah, I really I dug that delivery in the worst possible way.
It's something like that. I'm gonna see if I can find a clip on YouTube, because I bet somebody like has clipped that. And I'll throw it in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we already talked about Liu Kang learning to do his animality, the weird sort of hookup between him and Jade. Luke. All right, so Liu Kang and Jade finally meet up with Sonya and Jax, and immediately Jax hits on her, as does Raiden later, where I think it's Raiden, where he's like, "Is she as dangerous as she is pretty?" Like, because of course, I guess this is the 90s, and you can't not get hit on if you're an attractive woman. This is when Raiden also says that there's a scene of Raiden praying to the gods surrounded by candles. I mean, how expensive? I mean, they used that set for 5 minutes. Like, how long would it take to light all those candles? Or maybe it was all CGI. I don't know, but it was just like, why?
It definitely wasn't CGI. I've seen the CGI in this movie.
You're right.
In fact, later on, so Raiden, we should mention, he ends up becoming mortal. He sacrifices his immortality to, why again? To help the humans?
No, it's when he goes to Outworld, he's mortal.
No. Like he goes and talks to the elder gods, and they tell him, "Would you sacrifice your immortality to help them?" Maybe it's like he couldn't interfere or something. Once he was mortal. But anyways, the thing is, like, and that's when he comes back, and I guess becoming mortal means you get like bleached blonde hair and a shitty
Right.
vest.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
But shoot, I forgot where I was going with this Raiden mortal thing. Oh yeah, so Raiden dies, of course. You could see that coming, right? Once they said, "Oh, he's mortal," and does get resurrected at the end by
Yeah,
the
the
gods,
Deus Ex
the other elder
Machina
gods.
gods, yes.
But like the effects when they resurrect him are so awful. Those smoke and fire. First of all, one of the gods is represented by a CG fire, and it's bad, but it's like almost passable for the time. But then next to him is supposed to be water, but it ends up looking like metallic, poorly rendered balls floating
Oh
in the
man, they
air.
really have a thing for balls in this movie.
So somehow this fire and water resurrects Raiden, and so like smoke kind of comes all over him, but it looks really bad. It reminded me kind of the final cut like smoke effects. I don't know if you remember those built-in smoke effects in Final Cut,
yeah, yeah,
back
absolutely.
in the mid 2000s. Yeah, it looked really really bad. So I don't believe that the candles were seen.
All right, I agree with you. So at one point, Liu Kang is trying to find Katana, and then he does. And she, with all the charisma of like a spatula, says, "Wait, Liu, it's a trap." And then we get Baraka, who's wearing a mask that it looks like he bought from one of those Spirit Halloween stores. Like they have a very short little skirmish. Of course, Liu Kang wins. Then Shiva shows up, and she's automatically crushed by the cage. Just like what? Why did you have all these characters if they're not going to do anything? Like, how could we fix this? Okay, all right. Let's imagine we're Larry Kazanoff. Like, and I guess we have.
Okay. But by the way, Steve, I got to break away for just a minute. But
All
keep
right,
talking.
all right.
I'm listening.
So we're Larry Kazanoff, and I guess we have Midway breathing down our neck, telling us to get as many characters in there as possible. Like, couldn't we just sort of mention them or maybe show them in other fights? Yeah, like in a montage. We could just show them having various fights. Some people are defeating others. Like, they don't have to constantly be standing around and like doing nothing and saying lines that go nowhere. I don't know, chat. Like, what do you think? How could we fix this thing? Or is it just unfixable? I don't know. So I also think that Sindel, her outfit, that I guess it's that purple, I don't know, it just makes her look like a Power Rangers villain to me. Like, it doesn't look like she's ever seen a day of combat. It just looks like they bought it straight off the rack and just put it on her. And yeah, it doesn't look worn. In fact, I would say that the costumes in general, again, compared to the first Mortal Kombat, is just it's just a step down. Like they hired a different costumer or something, or just didn't want to put the money into it. And yeah, it's just not good at all. So where are we? Oh yeah, we find out Shao Kahn and Raiden are brothers. Shao Kahn slaps Jade around. This is another, like, I mean, Jade, she was for a minute there a very important character. It's revealed that she betrayed our heroes, and then she sort of just sneaks away to go back to Shao Kahn, who I guess is upset that he didn't do, that she didn't do his dirty work for him and kill everyone. So he feeds her to Reptile, a very terribly rendered Reptile that looks like, I don't know, Saturn graphics. Like, I mean, not to insult the Saturn. I mean, I love Sega and everything they did, even though they destroyed themselves. But yeah. So yeah, Jade is fed to Reptile, and it looks awful, just like everything else in this movie. Yeah. Do you think Jax sounds like he belongs in a Michael Bay movie at times? Because I'd say that's another guy, Michael Bay, that is, who's very guilty of being like, oh, this is what black people are supposed to sound like in like all of his films.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit like he's a character from a Michael Bay movie at times.
And then we get Raiden saying he will pray for you all, much like the, a youth pastor that he reminded me of. And then basically it's the good guys confront the bad guys. Shao Kahn, did did not have Shao Kahn wear his mask and like, oh, he's leaving again, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, most of the time, Shao Kahn just looks like a boring bald guy because they don't have him wear his like skeleton mask. Like again, I feel like they maybe missed an opportunity there. Shao Kahn should be more like a Skeletor type, don't you think? Don't you think? So while Creative KB left, right around when Yahel left, I see why you show up. Got a little man crush, do you? He had enough. Fatality. Yeah, there you go. So Sonya battles Ermac, Liu takes Shao Kahn, Kitana takes her mom, and Jax calls Kintaro Mr. Ed. Wow, that's a dated reference. Did anybody get that reference back in the 90s when they watched this? I will admit and say that I got it because I used to watch Mr. Ed on Nick at Night. Your eyes are bleeding. All right, I feel you, man. I feel you. Mr. Ed, that is the height of pop culture references right there. See, there's just not enough centaurs in movies these days to call Mr. Ed. That's what's wrong with Hollywood. So yeah, basically, I guess the climax of the film is Liu Kang transforms into a dragon. He embraces his animality, and Shao Kahn transforms into his Hydra thing. And this turns into a kaiju movie for about, 3 to 5 minutes. They have the weirdest possible music playing behind as they fight. Two randos show up out of nowhere, and two of the rando gods show up and declare the fate of the world shall be decided in Mortal Kombat. And so, yeah.
This is when they play the music, I think.
The weird music, or the Mortal Kombat theme. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah, it comes in at the end of the film, and in the most anticlimactic way, Liu Kang defeats Shao Kahn. Raiden's dad gets folded away like a towel, like Chinook.
Yeah, it's weird. He turns into like a briefcase and just keeps getting folded up. Like, it's very strange. It's almost like the end of Superman 1 where like they're trapped in the Zod or whatever is trapped in the
Superman 2, I believe. Okay. That's exactly what I thought too. Oh, that's so. Yeah, you never saw this effect at all throughout the entire movie, but they're like, nah, we're sending Chinook to what is that prison? It's called like the Negative Zone. In Superman, dang it, I can't think of the name.
I can't remember it, but yeah. And by the way, I too watched Mr. Ed on.
I know you did. I know you did.
Yeah. But yeah, he gets folded up into a million pieces or whatever. And that's kind of pretty much the movie. Raiden gets resurrected. Yes. Oh, sorry, Steve. I see you're salivating.
No, you're right. It's pretty much the end of the movie, but I love it because Raiden, he comes back, and basically he pulls a Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious. Because, like, all right, so we all know... Right. That Fast and the Furious, the whole point of that is cars go vroom vroom and action stuff happens. But they try to say that, oh, no. Fast and the Furious is all about family. And that's exactly what Raiden says at the end here. He just says, you guys need to... We're It's like, is that like the cop-out when you have a script that's really about nothing? You just say it's about family and call it a day?
I guess so. This must be where they got it from for the Fast and the Furious movies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Raiden gets told, hey, we're going to make you a god now, an elder god. You can take your dad's place. Sorry about letting you die earlier.
Yeah, see, and this is the problem when, like, gods start showing up, because then you just start questioning if, like, what was the point of the whole movie if these, like, or story... if these omniscient gods just allowed all this stuff to happen. And it also, has people start questioning their religion. I mean, I'm sure this is what turned you into an atheist, right?
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Is there any other I mean, basically, I just sort of summed up the rest of the movie while you were off doing God knows what.
I heard.
Anything else you want to mention before we render our verdict?
No, the only other thing is I know we talked about Baraka looking pretty bad, but when Baraka gets killed, they literally use the same death scene that they use when they kill Rain in the movie. Rain gets thrown into a pit, and they use the exact instead of Baraka getting thrown into the pit. When they cut to like what's supposed to be Baraka falling into the pit, it's Rain just from a different angle, but it's clearly like the same shot from earlier. But yeah, let's render a verdict.
I have one little bit of trivia before we finish up here, and that is Thuy Trang, the Yellow Power Ranger. She auditioned to be Jade, but was turned down. Like, how? I think she probably would have done a better job than the Jade we ended up with. But whatever, It is what it is. So speaking of whatever, here we go.
Remembered or obliterated? That's the question.
All right. Yahel Velasquez, lover of many a centaur woman. I don't know why that's your theme for this episode, but it is. Do you think that Mortal Kombat Annihilation should be remembered for all of human history, or high-kicked into the dark pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
I'm going to say obliterate this one. It's just like, it's bad, but it's not bad enough that it's good, and it takes itself way too seriously. And, we've already talked about like the bad effects. Like, it's just not good. What say you?
Yeah, they sucked all the fun out of the original Mortal Kombat movie with this one. Yeah, all the good things and the good bad things of the previous Mortal Kombat are gone from this. Like, I never thought I would say, a movie with a kaiju fight in it deserves to be obliterated, but this one definitely does. And worse, I think above all, like, even if you had like the worst script in the history of like martial arts films, you can still make up for it with good fight scenes, and they definitely did not do that with this one. So yeah, I'm gonna go with obliterated as well.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
Yeah, and I never wanted to watch it again after I got done watching it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And it just ruined a lot of sort of iconic characters. Like, I don't know if you probably heard me when you were gone talking about the costumes went downhill too. Like the ninjas did not.
Very Party City.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween store, 100%. But yes, well, that is our Mortal Kombat Annihilation episode. Make sure you check out, I think it was our second episode ever on both Mortal Kombat ones, the Christopher Lambert one and the remake that came out, where we talked about the good and the bad between those. And I didn't even realize that old Larry found a way to weasel his way into the new Mortal Kombat films as well, which kind of explains why I thought those movies were terrible as well.
Yeah.
But anything else about Mortal Kombat or about anything before we sign off?
No, I am good to go.
And of course, make sure you let us know what you think about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And it would be fantastic if you could subscribe and tell all your friends about the work we do here at Obscurity Now. It would help us out a whole lot. And make sure you join us next Sunday as we continue to unearth more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. We will see you next Sunday.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.